Be ready?
Hello and welcome to Rhythm and Pixels, a video game music podcast. This is episode number 31-10. I completely forgot. And we are your hosts. My name is Rob Nichols.
And I need a nap.
And every week we listen to great video game music from all consoles and all generations. And this week is no exception. Except now, this week we are in a new studio space in my house.
That is correct. Rob went through all the ring-a-ding-dingers.
Yeah.
Shit, moved everything down to another space, ran a bunch of cable McGables, and pretty much just did a lot of stuff. So it's a wider space, so sound might be a little different, but from what I can tell right now, it actually sounds the same. Like, it didn't lose any sound quality.
Yeah, so far it's pretty good. I'm just going to put some dampening on the walls.
Don't put water on the walls. That damages them.
I'm going to dampen the walls. No, I'm going to put put some of the sound panels on the walls just to absorb some of the liquid sound.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. But what I'm dealing with right now is just like where to put the microphone. It's a whole new desk setup. So
it's a whole new world.
And like now you're all the way over there. I guess you've always been kind of this distance.
It's true. It's always been a desk apart. A world of desk
But now you have
apart.
your own desk. Like you have a dedicated Purnell space. I bought this desk because it has Purnell space.
I can do programming on here.
You can't put your legs underneath though, unfortunately.
That is true. But nature finds a way.
I'll sit side saddle.
That's right. That is right. I'll make it work. If my legs need to stretch, I'll find a way.
So yeah, hopefully this microphone isn't too creaky. Like, I don't know what I did to it when I moved it, but anyway, that's all right. So yeah, last week we were going to do a special episode, and then we had a topic all set, and then I was like, I'm never going to get this stuff moved in time. And so we had to cancel that one.
And then this week we had a special topic. Spoiler, it was the same one.
The same one, but neither of us thought about it.
Yeah, it was like a matter of okay, life has been busy. We didn't have the time to choose the tracks, and it was like, okay, we got to choose an episode topic for tomorrow. And it was like, whoop, I think I know what I'm picking. So we picked the topic, we ran with it. But next week should be that special topic, unless it ends up being the Patreon topic, was suggested by someone. Was it Jeff? I think Jeff suggested it.
Yeah, it was Jeff.
Try Jeff.
Try Jeff. I like Try Jeff. And he suggested that we do games. It was games that brought friendships together or destroyed them.
Or as I like to call it, friendship foundations and friendship fissures. The 4 Fs.
Oh, yeah, I like that. Good use of the word fissure, too.
Thank you.
That's pretty nice.
I was digging.
Yeah, so if we don't do it next week, it's going to happen for the live streamed episodes. If you're listening to this, our live streamed episode will be recorded on the last Thursday of this month, the month of March 2022. And thank you.
The year of our Lord.
We accept track suggestions for those live streamed episodes. And if you want to write a little something about it, a little testimonial, we will read them on the air.
Oh, no. Normally, yeah, but come on. The topic almost begs for testimonials. Come on, guys.
Yeah, it's kind of necessary.
You gotta give us some juice here.
I chose the Mario Kart song. And then, I'll see myself out.
It's like, what is it? I mean, everyone hates Mario Kart, but why do you? Why did it ruin your friendship?
I want to plug, again, the VG Embassy with Ed Wilson. I was on his show last month, or I guess the last month's episode. And I talked, because we were talking about games that brought friendships together, I talked about Dance Dance Revolution for 3 hours.
I'm still amazed that it happened.
If you want to hear about the history, the evolution, and everything about Dance Dance Revolution, but we're afraid to ask, check out that podcast. It's the VGEmbassy.com. It's got Ed Wilson. He is our podcast dad, and he's the best.
He's also an ambassador.
He is.
No, he's not the ambassador. Who is he? He's the dignitarian?
He's the Prime VGM Minister.
There it is. Prime VGM Minister, and the guests are the ambassadors.
I don't know what that makes me.
No, you're the ambassador.
Am I an ambassador?
You're the ambassador.
I feel like I'm just along for the ride, you know?
Well, no, you're representing the country of DDRPia.
Well, if you kick me off the show, I'd be a refugee on his show.
You'd be a refugee. Oh, my God.
Anyway, that's a little fun that we have to have in the little podcast world here. If you love video game music, there's a lot of podcasts to check out. I want to also represent Alex the Messenger's podcast. It's called AVGM Journey. I don't think we talk about it enough, especially since he gives he gives to our Patreons, and I think we need to rep that show because he's getting a lot of listens. And
he just got an award.
I think he got an award in Pennsylvania, Erie, Pennsylvania.
In PA, he got an award for like a local hero sort of thing, where it's like, this is a prime, quality podcast that is being aired by a resident in our city. So it's kind of cool. Like the fact that VGM podcasting got recognized outside of that sphere.
Oh, and another piece of news, and you're going to hear this live. Pernell, I put us in for a panel at Too Many Games this year.
Dun, dun, dun!
I'm feeling still too anxious to be in public, but you know what? I'm going to go for it.
Honestly, for me, I'm like, I'm confident in my shots.
Kind of ready to do it.
Just got to be confident in your shots. That's really what it is. Like, people look at me like I'm weird when they're like, why do you still wear masks at Target? I'm like, simple. I want you to see in my face. Like, have you ever had a conversation with somebody and you're tired and you're kind of fighting the yawns? When you're wearing a mask, you don't have to fight anymore.
I know. I feel like the world changed, and I'm like not ready for it to go back. I don't want it to go back.
I don't want it to go back.
All these people have been fighting for it to go back before we should go back. And I'm like...
I can blame my poor dating life on the mask situation and closed up bars.
I'm sorry, guys. I can't go out. I'm too worried about things.
But now you're like...
Sorry, guys, I can't go out. I'm going to stay home and watch Frasier.
Well, actually, he was watching The Simpsons when I showed up, which was funny. I walked up, and his window was open. I could see, like, the scene that was on the TV, and he opens the door. I just, like, quoted the scene word for word. Like, I saw the scene that was just there.
I don't even remember that episode, and you knew it right away.
That's right.
Yeah, Season 8, it's really good. The episode with John Waters, the homophobia.
Oh, that was a great one.
It's good. Watching it again, I'm like, ooh, it's a little rough. A little rough around the edges for Homer.
Just for that, you can't get a piece of candy. Okay, that's just me. Maybe a little piece.
Maybe a little piece of candy.
It's a great episode, honestly.
Is that John Waters in the episode? Or
it is John Waters.
Him? I love that.
It is John Waters. Zach.
Love that man. Okay. So this week we're another little like.
Also, like my favorite line I gotta say because that episode was like he sits about like Homer's like basically the whole episode is goofy because Homer's dumb and he's like, my son's gonna turn gay because he's hanging out with a gay man.
Which is, I think it all works because like he's so over the top about it.
Yes, he is.
And every other character in the show is
except for Mo and Barney, but they're equally dopey about it.
Yeah, they're equally terrible.
But like the thing I liked about it was like
everybody's against him.
While he's like afraid of it, he's like, okay, I got to do things to make my son manly, and of course it all backfires. And the usual go-to everybody likes to name is the steel mill segment. But for me, I think my favorite was always like when he sits him out on the freeway in a lawn chair. He's like, stare at that sign, and in like for like an hour, I'll come back and get you. The sign was just like a guy smoking cigarettes or something.
No, it was two girls in bikinis having a pillow fight, and it says like Laramie Cigarette Slims.
That's what it was. Okay, and he comes back. He's like, how do you feel? He's like, I don't know. He's like, I kind of feel like I want to smoke. He's like, it's a good start. What do you want? He's like, anything slim. He's like, it failed. Something ridiculous about the fact that it was Slim cigarettes that made him go, no, it didn't work.
Yeah, if there's something about cigarette culture that I don't know about, right into the show. Rhythmandpixels at hotmail.com. I don't know. Rhythmandpixels at marlboro.com.
All I can say is that my mom used to smoke Salem Lights, and that was the only smoke she would smoke. And just to put out there for the show purposely, I hate cigarettes, and Rob gave them up years ago. So we aren't endorsing this garbage in any way, shape, or form.
I will say my father did smoke Marlboro Reds. He's no longer with us.
Yeah.
Cigarettes are bad for you.
They're really bad.
Really, really bad.
Do not smoke.
Do not smoke. Do listen to great music. So one of the things that Pernell has been trying to convince me to watch, aside from play Persona 5,
which you did, though,
past 2 years, is to watch the rest of the show, The Good Place.
Yes!
Which is one of the greatest television shows
ever made. From beginning to end.
4 seasons, doesn't need any more, doesn't need any less. It was a perfect show.
It's a rarity.
Ted Danson.
That brought, fun fact, by the way, that show actually brought Ted Danson back.
He's an old, he's like in his 70s. He looks amazing.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he had like any work that was happening since like the 90s or whatever. But what I do know is he was in Obscurity Town, and The Good Place put him back in the spotlight. Like people were like, wait a minute, Ted Danson can still work, and he's good.
Yeah,
and he is really good. And honestly, if you guys are having any thoughts, because it's an interesting, just general, like, get to know our listeners thing, too. If you could think of any other, quote-unquote, if you can think of any other perfect TV shows.
No. Get comfortable, but just take it with you.
Just bring it along. We're talking about the microphone.
Yeah, just get in the habit of just taking the microphone with you.
But, like, the idea being that if you could think of a show that you consider to be perfect, I mean, as perfect as a TV show can get, let us know. Yeah. And keep in mind that by the way I'm phrasing that, it means it's setting a really high bar, not just I like the show. I mean, you can't think of a single fault at all, because that's the good place.
Yeah, that is the good place. So we're not going to get into all of the details of the show, because two guys spouting off like the plot of a TV show, not the most interesting thing in the world. We have characters who have died and they've gone to the afterlife, and there's a good place and a bad place. The characters, of course, are very, very flawed, and they don't belong in the good place.
No, only one of them doesn't belong in the good place.
Anyway,
only one doesn't belong in the good place.
Well,
so
they all believe that they don't belong there, so they're all trying to be better so that they will eventually belong there. That's the first season, and that's just eventually how it goes. And it gets very, very existential and lots of philosophy like talk, and it's really silly and really funny. So I thought, or actually Purnell thought, this week we would do games that belong in the good place.
Yes.
So what does that mean to you?
So in the context of how I'm doing this episode, I was thinking not so much, games that quote unquote belong, because at the end of the day, it's the good place. Every game I want's going to be there. But I took it in a sense of saying, what are games that I'd be most anticipating or looking forward to having access to there because of qualities that only the good place could provide. So, for example,
this isn't like a desert island situation.
Exactly, because in the good place, everything's available.
Because that's why I went a little different.
So like,
because I thought like it's just desert island games. We could do desert island games. That's fine.
Yeah, that's a little harder, honestly, than the good place games.
Well, for you, yeah. But I mean, like for me, who doesn't play a lot of games, like
I know what I want.
Yeah. Put me on the island with Tetris. I'll be fine for eternity. That's okay. But yeah, so I thought not just the games that I would want. Oh, no, explain me. So these are the games that it's not desert island games. It's not.
They're not desert island games.
These are games that would improve.
Well,
in the good place,
it's a medley. It's a mixture. So the best way to describe this is, what are things that are generally lacking in gaming in life? Time, co-players, and money. The three things that limit access to games in the living world. But in the good place, I'd have access to all those things, which means what are games that I would be looking forward to playing when those walls are they're no concern to me.
If you had 1 million Jeremy Bearmies,
that's right,
to play a game, then like what would you do with it? I love that. So I chose composers that I thought that belonged in the good place.
Nice. They didn't eat any Chick-fil-A sandwiches.
These are composers that earned enough points.
Yes,
to get up there.
I love that line from the show. It's so good. And this is such a weird show.
And these are, and by points I mean like their breadth of work.
Yes.
I don't know enough about their.
It's in the show, the literal context they're referred to as points. So.
And honestly, I just went to their wiki and just did a search, a word search for the word controversy.
He tried to do a surface level like
making sure no one's got any skeletons in there. No, it's fine.
Surface level background checks. Because honestly, the big joke I had when you kind of mentioned like, oh yeah, I think I would do composers. Like, I'll wait for you to name like 3 people, and then we'll go put the episode out. Someone's like, actually, Tanaka did a thing. Like, no, he's my hero.
Tim Fallon killed like 4 people.
Like, no, he's my
he's a terrible
hero.
Person. You hear how he talks about women? I'm like, oh my god.
No, I love Tim Fallon.
I hereby resign from the podcast. All right, so this is an even-numbered episode. I'm going to start off the show with someone who earned so many points from a single game that even if he lost 1 billion points in the future, it wouldn't matter. That's Yasunori Mitsuda composing for Chrono Trigger on the Super Nintendo.
Even if he ate an outsourced tomato?
Even if he ate 4 outsourced tomatoes and 5 like almond milk lattes.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's a stretch.
It is totally fine. His music for Chrono Trigger, I mean, he just about killed himself making the soundtrack. So I think this earns his place in the good place. We're going to listen to Peaceful Days because I think it's a beautiful song. It's early in the game, and I love it. So this is Peaceful Days from Chrono Trigger on the Super Nintendo, composed by Yasunori Mitsuda. Listening to Peaceful Days from Chrono Trigger for the Super Nintendo, composed by a good place celebrity, Yasunori Mitsuda. And, oh man, I even love how before the track resolves, it goes back into the loop, that it repeats that last little phrase. Like, it's just like these little details and touches that show that like he's not composing just for a game, like he's composing for a bigger story. Like almost like a movie.
Feeling.
Yeah, like for a feeling. I really, really like that.
And it's interesting because, like, you mentioned this track, and I started humming the track immediately. It's like, wait, you know this? I'm like, yes, this is iconic. Like, the Chrono Trigger OST sticks with you for days.
Yeah,
well, I mean, a lifetime, really.
Well, I mean, it does. Absolutely, it does. But if you said a track title, I may not recognize it right away, just based on the title.
Oh, that's true.
You knew the title.
Like it just hits. Chrono Trigger just hits differently.
It does.
And we were talking about it on the break, but I've always liked how this track comes at the beginning of the game, because there was a fair number of JRPGs, let's be realistic, where the hero's at bed and he wakes up in the morning, either his mom says, "Come down for breakfast," or he's sleeping under a tree. "Coming down, I'm going to do some battles." But like, essentially, like, you're just being brought into the day. But in this game, it just feels wonderful. Like the sun actually comes into the window. You know, you jump out of bed.
It feels right.
Yes.
It feels good.
And you're actually not going off on a weird adventure. You're just going to the fair. And this music is playing as you're out before you get to the fair. It feels nice. Yeah. It feels like it doesn't even feel like the start of an adventure. It's like the start of your day. That's how it should be, you know. The adventure doesn't start when you get out of bed. It starts when the weird thing happens.
Well, yeah, the weird thing happens after you get out of bed. But it's important. I think it's just like, it's telling you, like, it's a good thing to get out of bed, because your adventure won't start until you get out of bed.
That is true.
If you stay in bed, you'll never have your adventure.
I kind of want the game to be where you get to choose to get out of bed, and if you say no, it actually starts an entire second timeline where what happens if you didn't wake up for the special event that triggered the adventure.
No, that's a Wario game on the Game Boy, I think.
Really?
Nintendo, yeah, where like you're sleeping in your house and the alarm goes off, and you hit and then if you wake up, you press a button, he jumps out of bed, and there's like pirates like attacking his like house.
Mm-hmm.
But what you could do is just not press any buttons, and the pirates like just go past you. And there's a whole other level. Apparently, it's Wario.
Are you talking about Wario Land and Super Mario Brothers 3? Because that's what that was the one that involved the syrup pirates.
But it was an NES. It was one of the early ones, NES ones.
The first Wario Land,
the first Wario one. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the Game Boy. It was Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3.
Yeah.
And he's dealing with the syrup pirates who probably basically are stealing their money.
Yeah, that was it. It was Super Mario Land 3?
Mm-hmm. Because that was before Wario was like fully established. Because, Mario Land 2 Wario was the anti-Mario.
Yes.
But then in Wario Land, they were like, well, we want to give him his own game, but we don't feel confident enough in the Wario character to just call it Wario Land. So they had to give it the Mario Land tagline. It succeeded, so then the next one was just Wario Land 2.
Oh, okay. So he's just like kind of the evil version of Mario because his M is upside down?
Literally it, yes. That was how he was created. He was just supposed to be evil Mario who took his castle because apparently Mario had a castle.
Well, I mean, he had a ton of castles.
No, he never stole the castle. He just he kicked Bowser out of them and then let the deed go unused.
But he raised his flag on every single one.
That is true.
I mean, like that is like he's saying that's my house.
That was like Mario meets Monopoly.
It's like I like that. He has to pay Bowser rent.
Because that's like, who even owned the castles? Because they didn't even belong to Bowser. Bowser only had the big castle.
They were Mushroom Kingdom castles, so they were owned by mushroom people, right?
He was liberating them, I guess. I don't know.
I guess so. Because then, like, they're all excited, and that's why they shoot fireworks.
But the thing is, like, who's excited? They only shoot the fireworks if you hit the timer. If you don't get the timer right, there's no fireworks. No one cares that you got to that castle.
No one cares if you liberate the toads, unless it's on time.
Pretty much, it's specifically on time.
On time.
And then the only time you get any actual notification of an event is when you get to the last castle, kick Bowser out, and it's like, that princess isn't a princess. She's a retainer. Go find the real princess somewhere else. It's like, well, those other castles are just there for show. I don't know.
I got some Mario stories later on the show, but like, there's a Wario game on the Virtual Boy.
Mm-hmm.
That's like awesome.
That's the one I never got to play.
Really cool. If you could play it. If anyone could play that game.
I feel like at this
for longer
point,
than like 20 minutes.
There's probably a Virtual Boy emulator because when you
there
really
are.
laid on the table, that device was not necessary.
Yeah,
it was a gimmick.
Host of Retronauts, Jeremy Parrish, has a whole series on YouTube called Nintendo Works and Game Boy Works, and he did a whole Virtual Boy series, like on almost every game. And he has some kind of emulator that like I think projects it in black and white, or he's just capturing it in some way that I think you can emulate it and still play it.
Because the only games I want to play on there that I can recall,
It's a powerful system. It's just a terrible display.
Like, what is it? It was Mario, the Wario Land game, Mario Clash, Mario Tennis, and Panic Bomber. Those are the only games I can think of that I want to play on the Virtual Boy at some point in my life.
Wait, what about that one? The Mega 10 game? There's a Shin Megami Tensei game.
Jack Brothers.
Jack Brothers.
I forgot that was on Virtual Boy.
Yeah, man.
Good catch, Rob.
Yeah,
I want to play that too.
Yeah, we'll find it, and we'll play it on a television. That doesn't hurt our eyes.
My poor eyes.
But if you're missing the authentic experience,
no,
then I will just punch you in the eyes.
No one should miss the authentic Virtual Boy experience.
Okay,
terrible experience.
Okay, so what's your first game that you will play in the good place?
Well, I don't want to say the first game I'll play there because I want this first game to be a why would you choose this?
Oh, okay.
So first game I'm going to pick is Genshin Impact.
What?
Yeah, I know, right?
Are you? Well, you tell me. I don't know. I mean, this is like an iPhone game. This is a phone game.
Well, not exactly. I think it's got like some actual like console applications too.
Yeah, there's some PC stuff. Yeah.
But this comes from the City of Winds and Ideals album, and it is called Silhouette and Silk Steps, composed by Yu-Peng Chen. I went down to the sliced stick of cheese and a sausage meat and a rat.
Foot of cheese.
Just a smokestack cheese block. This is Silhouette and Silk Steps from Genshin Impact, the City of Winds and Ideals album, which is just an album of one of the many containing tracks from this game, composed by Yu-Peng Chen. Now, anybody who knows me at this point is probably thinking, why in the world would Purnell want Genshin Impact
Can I guess?
in the good place? Take a guess.
Social aspect. Because so many people play this game and there's a huge community around it, right?
Partially,
Maybe?
yes.
Okay.
Actually, you're on to something.
Am I selling something different?
Sounds like the Silk Stockings like jingle is giving you some detective skills there. So
That clarinet is so good. Right? Can we just talk about the clarinet?
it's really good music.
That's a good clarinet.
Why this game? So, well, things I know about Genshin Impact. The OST is ridiculously good. It's a really good OST.
There's a lot of good music, yeah.
2, like Rob said, it's extremely popular. A lot of people play it. Large player base. 3, gameplay has been compared heavily to games like Breath of the Wild, but with more of an action vibe going for it and a variety of characters. But it is total gacha gameplaying, and there's a lot of like paying money to get characters and mess. And I have never been a gacha guy. I don't like gacha games. I try to avoid them, even if they have good gameplay loops. Every once in a while I'll bite, but generally I try to avoid them, especially if they try to mask it with the potential for a time sink. So, Good Place would provide me with the means to just say I don't need to take time to unlock characters. I'll just drop the infinite amounts of money, or even better, they'll just be unlocked because it's the Good Place. There's no need to lock things behind financial gates anymore.
Then that's the paradox then. This game would mean nothing to anybody.
That's right. You would just choose the character you want, play it to your heart's content, and put it down when you're done.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about grinding out for characters. I can just I like the character with the dual wielding blades because they're cool and I can choose them right now and I'll enjoy access to this character. Yeah. So it's and it kind of goes, I bet there's a lot of gacha games I would probably be content with in the Good Place if they remove the time sink element and the money spending element. But by that same token, the games probably wouldn't last as long.
Yeah,
because you don't have to sink time into
Yeah, because the game is the gacha. The game is putting in the money to get the new characters to get a pack of cards essentially.
Mm-hmm. But I feel like at least with this game, this is one of the few games where there is a full game behind the character too. It's not just once you get the character, that's it. You hit 3 enemies with them and go, I experienced this guy. Time to move on.
Okay.
You know, because trust me, I thought about that too. Because there's been a number like there's a Secret of Mana, or rather Mana series gacha game coming out where I was like, oh, screw that. I was recently talking about Final Fantasy All the Bravest recently, which in turn also got me thinking about Final Fantasy Record Keeper. And as you might remember, that was the one time where I was like knee deep in gachas. Like, I love this game, but I hate the fact that I like it because they just want me to keep unlocking new skin characters. It's stupid. So I got off a Record Keeper. And there was that other one too, the freaking Cartoon Network Matchline.
That's different though. It's different enough. It's definitely got the trappings of like the phone game stuff, but I feel like it was Final Fantasy Record Keeper that like just distilled it down to here's those things you like.
You can only unlock it this week.
Yeah, I played what's it called? Something Xevious, like Final Fantasies.
Oh, Exvius, Brave Exvius.
Yeah, Zephyus.
It's Brave Exvius.
Gosh. And I was like, oh, this is cool. It's like a Final Fantasy type game with all these weird things, but it just wasn't interesting enough for me to like kind of keep going with it.
Because they make you think it's interesting at first, and then you get out of that first or second dungeon, it's like, hey, time for the gotcha!
Well, I was expecting like strategy elements to the combat and stuff like that. It just really wasn't there. It was
big numbers.
Yeah, just big numbers, essentially. This is a good pick.
Thank you.
I'm not a Purnell, not exactly a Purnell track.
You'd be surprised what Purnell tracks can be.
You like a very diverse type set of music. Actually, on the VG Embassy, when I was talking with Ed on the show, I talked about how your musical tastes really were heavily influenced by pop and music,
yes,
and by Guitar Freaks.
Mm-hmm. You said correctly. You remembered.
And so you just have this huge amount of there's a diverse group of music that you just like.
Mm-hmm.
Like it goes all over the place. And there's some things that you like more than others, I think, that you gravitate towards too anyway. But you like so much.
Yeah, like where if you were to say Pernod likes that song, like it's like I feel like one day I'm just gonna make like a list of like Pernod would like this track from Poppin' music listings. That would be a whole episode like weird tracks from Poppin'. But like I think one of my favorite games about that things that we used to do with that game is like the game had a bunch of songs in it, just like how DDR and all would have them. But even though the songs had titles and the like, the game was predominantly in Japanese. So sometimes you couldn't even read the song titles. But what you generally could read was the genre of music the song was under. Yeah, and that's how they listed them on the song reader.
Yeah, which is like, it's funny. I felt like they were creating these categories to group them. But every song had like its own crazy genre they just came up with.
And that's where it got cool, though, because it became a weird game where it's like, is this a real genre or a genre they made up for poppin' music? Like, there was one called Choco Pop.
Choco Pop, and Philly Soul.
Philly Soul. Like, Philly Soul's a real genre. Choco Pop is not. Twee Pop, that's what I learned what Twee Pop was, and turned out it's a real genre. Yeah. And I fell in love with Twee Pop. I was like, this is amazing. A genre called Cuddlecore, which is also a real genre.
Real genre.
But, like, I loved just had that whole guessing game of, is this a real genre of music or not? So, I love me some pop music.
Well, we're going to move on to our next resident of the good place, Hirokazu Tanaka.
Ooh.
And this is his early works.
He belongs.
Yeah, he absolutely belongs. Early works, but not on the NES, but on the Game Boy, Super Mario Land.
Oh, there it is.
That's right. This is where it says, I love this music. It's this. I didn't even own this game. I think I borrowed it from someone in school when I was a kid. But like the music is so catchy. It's unlike.
Are you talking about the first Mario Land?
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
I hope you're talking about the first world's theme, like doo doo boo boo boo.
No. We're gonna listen to 2-1 and 2-2, composed by Hirokazu Tanaka for Super Mario Land. Listening to Worlds 2-1 and 2-2 from the game Super Mario Land for the Nintendo Game Boy, composed by Hirokazu Tanaka. Yeah, and this game was very, very different from other Mario games.
Yes, it was. And it actually, to this day, there are things from that game that never came out of it. To this day.
It never came back out
It never
of it?
came back after Mario Land.
There's the Fire Flower, which actually was like a weird, like, bouncy ball.
That's why I wanted to confirm I had the name right for it, before I messed it up. It was actually the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl, that's what it was.
But the thing about it is it's weird because I remember playing it when I got the original game, and I had the manual, but I'd be honest, I'd scrolled through it and walked away. But I always just thought of it as the Fire Flower. But even if you didn't read the manual or anything, and you just played the game, it did not act like a fireball. It actually acted like a bow.
Yeah, they were trying a bunch of different stuff. So this was Nintendo's R&D 1 studio. They had like R&D 1, R&D 2, and they would work on different things at the same time. And Gunpei Yokoi, the creator of the Game Boy and the Virtual Boy, helped develop this game with Hirokazu Tanaka on the music.
Yeah, I have fond memories of this game, despite the fact that I also had general complaints. But at the time it came out, it was a small potato because at the time it was like Mario on the go. That's what you cared about.
Yeah, but, I mean that was first of all, having Mario on a handheld was like a huge deal at the time. Like I couldn't believe that they would shrink down a Mario game onto that screen. I was like, what's it going to look like? Is Mario going to take up like half the screen?
Nope. It just became really hard and precise to make specific jump judgments.
Yeah, it was very difficult.
Fun.
Still really, really good. And also because it was that whole, like they were experimenting with new ideas. Like every 3 or 4 stages was like a different like shooter type stage.
Yeah.
Like in a submarine or in a plane. They were doing all sorts of interesting stuff.
And the boss was Tatanga the alien, and he never came back, and he was saving Princess Daisy of the Sahasrara Kingdom, which did come back. That's where Daisy came from, folks. She came from this game, and I probably got the name of the kingdom well wrong, but it was something like the Sahasrara Land or something like that. But it's interesting because, like, back in the day, I would make that trivia statement. People were like, what are you talking about? Was the Mushroom King? Like, no, it wasn't. It wasn't Princess Toadstool. It was Princess Daisy who was saving her from an alien.
Right.
And it was this cool thing. And then, like, they brought her back for the first time officially on Mario Tennis, so she'd be a partner for Daisy in doubles. Or partner for Peach in doubles.
But Daisy was back in Mario Golf also, right?
Yeah, but she originally came back. I had to double check, but I want to say she was on tennis first.
Oh, wow.
And then Mario Golf. But I have to double check because now I'm curious. But I believe she was put in there to be Peach's doubles partner, and Waluigi was created to be Wario's doubles partner.
I love that. Like, Bowser goes into these people's kingdoms where there's a female, like,
monarch
who is lording over all of these weird mushroom people.
Or is it patriarch?
No, matriarch.
Matriarch. There we go.
We'll call her the queen or the princess, right?
Yeah.
The monarchy over all of the mushroom kingdom, all these weird little toadstool mushroom people, right?
Uh-huh.
And then Bowser comes through and is like, I'm going to take over all of these areas. And then the Mario, a plumber, out of nowhere is like, I'm going to save these people. Maybe save the princess, maybe just to save the mushroom people, maybe just to fix the pipes. We don't know, but he's working at it, right? And then after he saves all of these kingdoms, everyone's like, what are we going to do? We want to take up tennis? We want to take up golf? They all retire. That's what I'm saying, is they get saved and they retire.
I mean, it makes, when you lay it on the table, though, it makes total sense. I mean, two things. One, it never made sense that Bowser would want to steal the kingdom in the first place because, congratulations, now you run two kingdoms. You poorly run one of them. Now you want to poorly run two? Where's the value in this guy?
Congratulations, now you got another kingdom.
You got another kingdom to screw up. But then after that, the other part is like, yeah, they really should have lives outside of the adventure. Like, there's this entire world that they live in.
Yeah.
And once the kingdom is saved, it's like, what else are they going to do? There's no other adventures to have.
Yeah.
Until Bowser wants to be a jerk again, let's go have some fun.
But there's all these mushroom people, right? Then where did these women come from? These human women.
None of it ever made sense. That was even the point before Toadette where the claim was that the mushroom males were the Mushroom Kingdom males were the mushroom people, and the Mushroom Kingdom women were the princesses and queens. But they were such a rarity that's why they were actually royalty.
Oh, they were like, oh, you look strange, like a human, so you will be the queen.
You're the queen.
You're the queen.
Like once every 100 years, a woman is born into the Mushroom Kingdom, and you're like, well, how are they born at all? Like, well, they're fungi.
This just. Yeah. Wow, this conversation went so weird.
That's the show. That's literally the show.
Okay, what's your next track?
All right, so funny that you mentioned the game on the last dialogue because my next track actually comes from the game Poppin' Music 20.
Oh, I love it.
This track is titled How Low, and it is composed by Makino. Welcome back. You were listening to How Low from the game Poppin' Music 20 Fantasia, composed by Makino Mitsuda. So, just for the coverage of what we were talking about earlier, the genre, quote-unquote, of this song in the game is upper pop. I don't know if that's real or not.
No,
I doubt it.
They just come up with this stuff, man.
Upper pop. So, why would this be on the list? Well, one, I love pop music. That goes without saying. I love pop about as much as Rob loves DDR.
Yeah, that's true.
Unfortunately, unlike DDR, there's a larger wall of entry to play later pop music games, because at one point you could import them from Japan and play them on Japanese PlayStation 1 and eventually the Japanese PlayStation 2. And then they started trying to release them on the friggin' PSP, which was like the dumbest idea. But I digress. It ultimately became really tough to get access to the game legitimately. You can emulate them if you know people can like crack the actual game files and set them up for you.
Yeah, but those
that's
are
a lot.
Hard to find.
Yeah, it's a lot. So what ended up happening was over time, I started losing access to playing these games. And how much did Chrono like these games? Well, I actually imported one of the limited edition controllers back in the day.
Yeah.
It was like $600, and I made very little money at the time. I didn't care.
I can say that you probably could still make that money back if you sold it to that.
I probably could.
Yeah.
People still want it.
People still want those. The tiny little finger controllers,
Which I also have.
They still go for a lot of money.
And I mean, honestly, like if I could get access, like good access to a pop-in sub today, I would. But if I had access to this in the good place, I'd have pop-in music with all the music, including the tracks I've missed. So it wouldn't just be one version. It wouldn't be poppin' 20, it'd be poppin' everything. Yeah. And I could play all the music to my heart's content. And as far as why I picked this song, this is like probably one of the first times where it was a poppin' game that I had no access to, but I really wanted to play a song in it. And there was this song, and then it was at MagFest one year. This machine was at MagFest. So I went to MagFest for the Pokémon, for the Pokéthon, the Pokemon Bimani. I get the titles wrong. I'm tired. I'm old. The Pokemon championships that they have at MagFest.
Right.
And I represent Steel Gym Leader there. But when I was off my shift, and I could get into the machine when there was no one playing, so I had to wait till all the long lines were gone. So we're talking 2, 3 in the morning.
Oh my God.
I'm in that arcade, determined to beat this song on hyper difficulty. Keeping in mind, I hadn't played pop music in years, so I was extremely rusty, but I still had a love of the game. So I was getting the muscle memory back. It was like reteaching myself how to play this game, spreading your fingers just the right way to hit the button combinations and stuff. And I was determined. Like, I just kept rotating back to the machine when someone was like, okay, fine, when you're done, get back on. And I was so excited when I beat this level 31 hyper track.
Yeah.
And apparently now it's rated a 37, which means, yes, I'm still
good. It was re-rated?
They re-rated
yeah,
it. It got rated higher. But I beat this track and lost my ever-loving mind in New York. I was like, yes, I did it! I'll never get to play it again, but I did it!
That feeling is why we still play rhythm games.
Yes.
It's because it's consistent and slow improvement. Mm-hmm. Where it's like weightlifting. You don't know you're getting better until one day you do something you've never done before.
I'd be legitimately afraid if I could weightlift to the rhythm, because I feel like I'd break something.
Oh yeah, you shouldn't weightlift to rhythm. That's a bad idea.
Do not, because that's another element to why music games work. Because it's not just the improvement part, though that's a big part of it. Think about why you play songs that you've already mastered, right? You play them because you like moving to that rhythm. Yeah. Even if you have no room to grow, you just like moving to the beat of the song. And sometimes, if you don't do as well as you want, you also kind of don't care, because you're like, I still had fun. As long as I can fail the song, that's what matters. Yeah. And then you come back and do it again and again and again. And that's ultimately why there's like a Poppin' 30, and there's like a DDR Gajillion Evan, and Beatmania 32 or whatever, because they never stop.
DDR A3 just came out.
Yeah, like they are literally games that never have to stop. I will say, outside of sports games, they are easily the most easy to recycle concepts out there, because all you have to do is give them new music, new beat patterns to play to, and they are infinite playability.
Yeah, I never thought about that. That they really are so much like a sports game where every year there's something. It's like there's new teams, but in this game it's new songs.
Mm-hmm.
Now I would say that. When was the last time you played Poppin' music?
Probably Mag 2019.
Oh wow! So it's been 3 years since you played it all together.
Yes. Take it back. As far as playing all together, I had a nostalgia hit back in, like when COVID first kicked up big time, maybe like mid 2020, and I broke out the Konami ASC Pop controller and Pop Music 14 on the PlayStation 2 and played a few sets of that. I'm sure my neighbor hated me.
Yeah, I know those buttons are big and they are loud. But I was thinking, like, so you're. I mean, I think it's fair to say that you're taller than the average, like, Japanese.
Oh, you've seen me play that machine. You know how it looks.
And so those machines are kind of short. Like the Beatmania machines are also short. The Pop and Music machines are pretty short. But like your hands, like you have very large hands, very long fingers, and I feel like you are designed, you are built to be the perfect poppin' playing person because you can hit like 5-10 buttons at one time.
If I was coordinated enough, because to put some perspective on, like, or conceptualize what poppin' is. So the original Poppin' Music game was released with the idea of let's play music together. And there's these giant buttons, 9 buttons that are displayed like a piano chord on the screen. Button notes fall down, hit the note when it gets to the bottom of the screen. This was designed to be played with 2 or more people, not one person. It was meant to be played with your friends. But people naturally got better at the game. And they started being like, I can play this by myself. I don't need friends for this. So they started adding new difficulties. And one day it was like, we have hyper difficulty now. So now it's the same songs with a few more notes. And people are like, I don't need my friends for this. I'm just going to do it alone. And I have fond memories of like playing Pop Music 2 back in like KatsuCon back in like 2000. Like the year 2000. And we did Classic 2 Hyper with 4 people on Dreamcast controllers, and it took all 4 of us to beat the song at the time. Fast forward to the present, or heck, even like 2004, people were doing that alone.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't need other friends anymore, so they just kept making the songs harder and harder and harder, and now they're just like sensory explosions.
It's that long, consistent improvement of any rhythm game. People will always find a new threshold.
Like, remember you had a tournament in Baltimore years ago, and you were like, hey, Perna, you want to ride down with me? It's like, sure. It's one of your stamina cons.
Oh, yeah, that was the last stamina con, because then COVID wrecked it all.
So now I think about that was probably the last time I played in an arcade, because when we got down there, apparently they had like Tokyo Attack that set up all their machines there. So they had poppin' machines.
That was amazing.
And I was like, oh my God, I can play poppin'. So I'm playing it, and it's like one random person shows up, and she picks like a level 42, which that's like one of the highest difficulties in the game. And she just like effortlessly just like destroys the song. And I'm watching her fingers. I'm like, how are you able to how can you conceptually make sense of what's happening right now? Can't do it.
That was an amazing thing. I'm such a part of that community now that like I wish they would do it again just so I can meet these
They're
people.
They're probably going to. As this whole thing's starting to shift more,
I hope
more events are opening. If the more people become comfortable with opening events, the smaller ones will start coming back too.
Yeah, the East Coast Stamina tournaments they were always like in a mall or something like that. They would just have like 2 machines set up. But that was the first year they were like, let's just like get a hotel, put like 10 setups in it.
It was funny too because it was like a nightclub above it.
Oh yeah, there was a comedy club, and then there was actually one of the DJs who actually mixes a lot of the music for the Stamina content. Mm-hmm. He flew in from France and like DJ'd like 2 nights in a row.
So he got some work while he was doing the show.
He's really good. He's really, really good. That's his Rems. But yeah, so I hope they do it again this year. I'm really looking forward to it. But they're being really, really careful about everything. And also, like, now they're really, really good about how it all works remotely. Before it wasn't at all possible.
Yeah, but you know how it goes with this stuff. Even if they're good at doing it remotely, there's a community element that got lost. No matter how you slice it, they're going to want it back.
All over the world to go to this thing.
Yeah,
and it used to be in Harrisburg. That's where it used to be.
Yeah, it's better to have it closer to the coast.
I think so.
But like, people, it's going to come back, and people are going to enjoy it. They're going to love that community thrive again. Just got to give it a little bit of time to simmer. But before we transfer to the next track, I'm just going to say, anybody who's like hearing me talk about pop and music, and like, what the heck are you talking about? I'm just going to say, look up some videos of people playing the game, and just like, honestly, I'm saying it, not even being a weirdo about it. Marvel at how the people who are really good at this game just play these songs, because my God, I can't even fathom.
It is like playing piano. It is like playing an instrument, but the buttons are so big and far apart. It's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, pop and music. All right, my last track. It's really like when I first started thinking about games, it was like composers that should be in a good place. This is a game that deserves to be in a good place. Games that did no wrong.
This game hurt nobody.
Start to finish, it was innovative. It was fun. It sounded great.
This game did not leave a wet floor sign out in the open for people just to slip around and fall.
This game came out in like 96, 97, and today people still want games to feel this good. Mega Man X.
The first one.
The first Mega Man X.
Good call.
Super Nintendo. We're going to listen to Chill Penguin on the Super Nintendo, composed by, there's a bunch of composers. We don't know which one. I don't know which one who did what, but it's Setsuo, Yamamoto, Makoto, Tomozawa, Yuki, Iwai, Yuko, Takehara, and Toshihiko Horiyama, rocking out to the Chill Penguin. Listening to the Chill Penguin from Mega Man X for the Super Nintendo, composed by Setsuo, Yamamoto, Makoto, Tomozawa, Yuki, Iwai, Yuko, Takehara, and Toshihiko Horiyama. I love this song. This is one of my favorites from the game.
The OST in Mega Man X was an outright gem. I think my favorite in the game was generally, most likely, Flame Mammoth.
That's a very, very good song. There's a lot of good songs, but I like this one because it's got like some really cool pitch bending. There's a lot of interesting, the bass kind of like, I love that sound. It sounds really good.
And I like that you picked this track from this game because your terminology and how you described it, I felt is a perfect way to represent what Mega Man X did for 2D platformers.
Yeah. The way, the speed at which he moved, the jumping, the action, and even the wall jumping. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like when you play a modern platformer that has like wall jumping and stuff in it, they want to feel like this.
Yes.
Like, I don't know what it is about, like, not just the motion, but the animation in which it does it, like the way you time it, it feels so fluid. It's so natural.
I'll go one step further. I will say that Mega Man X pioneered the way people hold controllers. So, you think of it like this, right? Mega Man X, gameplay-wise, the mechanics were you could walk, you could jump, you could shoot, you could charge your shot. Once you got the boots, you could dash, and you can wall jump. So when you start combining all these mechanisms together, you want to do it in the way that feels best for the character. So what would usually happen is you have, so let me see, get this right, because I always screw up with the buttons from Nintendo. It's like X, Y, A, B. So, no, A was the other side. So it's A, B, X, Y. Yeah. So you would end up holding down the Y button to constantly be charging your gun. But if you want to jump, or rather, if you want to dash and jump while you're doing that, you got to jump using the B button, which is below the Y button. So you have the top of your thumb holding down Y, and you bend your thumb to hit B while not letting go.
Yeah.
That's the first game. And if I'm wrong, closest one would be like maybe Mario World. But this is the first game where that motion stuck with me, where I had to constantly be holding down this button to do this thing.
I played this game so late that I probably did an overhand motion where instead of using my thumb, I had put my fingers on top of the controller, put my palm on top of the controller.
Wow.
And right hand palm on, and then use my index fingers.
That would be hard for me to do because
you already have the muscle memory.
Oh, you're good. Good point.
I never learned it.
Yeah, because this game it becomes so frenetic. It's the constant dashing and hopping off the wall, especially in levels like in Mega Man X2 where they have the flame stag and you're running up from the volcano.
Oh,
you got to constantly move. it revolutionized 2D platformers, and like you said, games have been chasing this high ever since.
Ever since. I think so.
Was there like 30XX is coming out? They're still in beta right now, but that's meant to be a sequel to 20XX.
Yeah, and it's just like, hey, you like the Mega Man X? Have some more.
Have some more.
Have some more in a roguelike.
And you know what bugs me about these games, though, in its own right? First thing I'm asking before I go into it, what Mega Man X games have you played?
1, 2, and I didn't finish 3, half of 3.
Okay, so that's good. That works. You play 1, 2, and 3. So
of the Super Nintendo games.
Yeah,
that's all. I haven't played anything past that.
That's fine. That's all you need for this statement, though it carries over to all of them, really. Like, we just discussed how Mega Man X1 kind of nailed, like, the motion structure. And at that time, the only flaw, and this is a small flaw, that I had for Mega Man X1 is that I felt like the dash was a major component, but you had to have the boots to do it, which means I always felt like I had to go to Chill Penguin first to get those boots.
Yeah, so Streets of Rage 2, or is it 3? I think it was 2, was kind of like that too, where there's the guy on the skate.
Mm-hmm.
He could dash. No one else could. And, like, why would you pick any other character?
Yeah.
Because, like, you would want to dash every time. It feels too good to do it.
It really does, because, like, they could run. Like, I knew Blaze could run, but her run was not his dash. And his dive attack was like a cannonball.
Exactly. So then, like, now I think about every beat 'em up that I like has a double tap dash kind of move, something to move quickly.
And if it doesn't, it's a complaint. Like, there was a game that just came out this week called Dawn of the Monsters. It's a kaiju beat 'em up.
Oh.
And, like, my biggest complaint about it, even though I was like, I know kaiju is all about being slow and lumbering and just forceful punches, but I want to run. I can't run. Hurts the game for me. I want motion, baby. But, like, Mega Man X nailed all these things. But then, with Mega Man X2, they made one move that was great. They said, hey, we realize that the dash is an important component. We don't need the boots to dash anymore. You can dash from the start. Now the boots give you the air dash. So it feels like an upgrade to what you can already do. But then they added those, like, Mega Man killers, the X-Hunters.
Yes.
And to me, while it seemed cool when it first came out, on subsequent replays, I feel like that hurt the game. Because the other component that people generally like about Mega Man games, X and regular, is that feeling to say, I can go to wherever level I want and just play the level and have fun with it. But now they have these random bosses that would just eventually start showing up and ruin the flow of what you're trying to do. And they only went further with that in future games.
Yeah, maybe it was because to their argument is like it's more challenge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There were some good parts to it too. Like, if you were to say, Perno, why do you like X3 so much? One of the big parts is I liked how you could, like, they had like the X Hunters in that game, and you would fight them. But if you fought them using their weakness when they showed up, you would destroy them. Whereas if you fought them with your normal gun, they would run away. You have to fight them later. And what this did was it changed the entire final level. Because it remixed it. Like, now, this section that was originally just kind of normal, now it's flooded. And now you're, like, jumping in the water with these floating platforms. Before, you just were running around. And now, this was originally the boss of a combination of bit and bite. But they're dead now. So now it's a whole new boss that wasn't there before. Like, these were cool things that I thought made that game awesome. It was, like, the variability of the gameplay run. But it still sucked because I knew that Bit and Bite were going to start showing up in levels, and I got to be aware of that, and I want to fight them or not. It annoyed me. But I still love X3 to death. Also, I loved that this was like the game I played in school, like back when Computer Shop was a thing, and I snuck a PC COM disc in and was playing this on shop computers on the keyboard.
Yeah, what did I play in that class? Everyone played Doom. Of course, you had Doom. Wolfenstein. And it was a Home Alone, like a PC Home Alone game.
Really?
It was terrible.
I probably had some jank.
I don't know why that sticks out of my mind, yeah. All right, we should keep going. What's your final track?
This comes from Mega Man. Let me stop. So this comes from the game Mario Party Superstars. The Spaceland theme, but remastered for that game. This was on the Nintendo Switch, composed by Masayoshi Ishii, Toshiki Aida, and Satoshi Okubo. Welcome back. You're listening to Spaceland, the remastered version from the game Mario Party Superstars on the Nintendo Switch, composed by Masayoshi Ishii, Toshiki Aida, and Satoshi Okubo. So, Mario Party I have a long storied history with the Mario Party franchise. It's a sad one, but also a good one. In that, so when the game first came out, the original Mario Party, I remember going to the store to buy a completely unrelated game, seeing this on the shelf and wondering, what the heck is a Mario Party? It's a board game?
What is a Mario
Party? Like, they're just running out of ideas at Nintendo. And furthermore, it was a digital board game, which at the time wasn't a thing. Because Sonic Shuffle did not exist. That was released to capitalize on how popular Mario Party became. But I bought it out of curiosity. Like, what the heck is this? I want to find out. And I took it back to my college dorm room.
What?
And the game became an instant hit in the dorm. Like, there was always people there to play matches. Lots of taunting, lots of screaming. We had Steve, we had Mike, we had other Mike, we had Tom Quo, who was my next door neighbor, who would just go, whoa, all the time because he loved hearing Toad's voice through his walls. It drove me crazy. We had John, and we had Scott, Dave, Tim. There's a lot of people who just would come and play this game. Chris, I'm just naming college people. And, like, we would play to death, like, ad nauseum. This and Smash Bros. Was a thing. And I loved the game. Mario Party 2, even just as much. Like, that was my second year of college, and unfortunately, the dorm room shift had changed a bit, but I still had people that would come and play Mario Party.
All right.
And
so even if you moved dorms, excuse me, I got really loud there. So even if you moved dorms, people would still find you to play Mario Party.
They found me to play Mario Party, because I was the game guy. Like, I had all the games on campus. And then after I left college, unfortunately, that was my link in access to regular multiplayer access. And what ended up happening was I continued to buy the Mario Party games because I was already well inundated with the franchise, but just never really got to play them. Like, there are actual Mario Party games from like GameCube up where I bought them on release and haven't even played all the boards on them and seen all the mini games because I just don't get enough people to play them. So they just kind of collected dust.
Yeah.
So
and even then, like, if you get the people to play them, like, you got to play them over and over again to unlock all that stuff.
Oh yeah, but they're so fun you don't care. Like, you want to play them over and over again to have new matches, you know, and see what mini games exist.
Last Mario Party I ever played was with you, maybe Matt Waldron, and there was these little little balls that came out of a thing's mouth.
Oh, Mario Party 5.
That was
the capsules.
Capsule. That was the last one we played. I mean, that's the one I ever played. It was 5.
Yeah, Mario Party 5, and at this point they're up to like Mario Party essentially 11 because it's not numbered 11, but they have Mario Party Superstars, which is this one, and it was like a sort of best hits game. There was 10 numbered Mario Party games. Mario Party E, Mario Party DS,
right.
Mario Party... there we go. Mario Party Star Rush, Mario Party... What was that weird island one they did? I have it at home, I don't remember the name of it. Those are still shrink-wrapped, by the way.
Mario Party Island Jam. That might be... imagine like these like mint condition shrink-wrapped things like 20 years from now, like worth like a ton of money.
Honestly, I have a couple things like that at home right now. Magic Knight Rare, just look it up. That's probably my most valuable game that I can think of.
This is a good try. This sounds like modern Mario to me.
It's such a good level too. You're in space because in Mario Party 2, the big gimmick was that every level was like had a different theme, and all the characters dressed for the part. So in Spaceland, everybody had astronaut outfits on.
Oh, that's cute.
There was a big space laser that fired across the board, and if you were in the middle of if you were in the line of sight, it chased you off the board. It was like
zap.
It's zap. Zap. It's just such a good game. Like again, going back to like we were talking about before about just certain things that a game kind of encapsulated. Like Mega Man X brought about the whole the dashing running gun style. Not running gun, but the dashing running gun.
Yeah.
Mario Party, to me, even though other games did it, Mario Party cemented the backstab your friends when convenient mechanism.
Yes, when convenient for you. Just take them out.
You had 2v2 minigames, and for that moment, you're like, yo, man, let's work together. We got to beat those guys.
Or
you were Pernell, you're like, you know what? I don't want you to have any money, so I'm going to throw the match.
Exactly.
Like just stuff like that. Like you would have these moments, and then when it was time for someone to call a boo and steal a star, you're pleading your case. Hey man, come on, you don't want to steal from me. I'm your boy. We went way back to that mini game, three rounds ago. Remember that? We rode that boat.
Sorry, Mario. This is Mario Party.
Sorry, Fernell. This is Mario Party.
They're friends of Mario Party. I'm going to turn this track down, and we're going to get into the part of the show we call the bonus round.
Bonus round. The bonus round.
The bonus round is where we play covers and remixes and arrangements on our theme, and this is one composer that deserves to be in the good place almost more than anybody else, and that is Hideki Naganuma.
Oh, man.
Yes. This is from Jet Set Radio.
Family Guy Funky Beats.
Funky Beats. This is Sneakman from Jet Set Radio, remixed by the Mothership Loudspeakers. Speakers. Well, it's got a Z at the end.
Dig this. After this, after this, after this, after this, I'll say it again. After this, after this, after this, after this, I'll say it again. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Keep it going there. After this, I'll say it again. Say it again. Say it again. Say it again. After this. Let's go. After this, one, I'll say it again, say it again, say it again, say it again. After this, one, again, say it again, say it again, say it again. After this, one, I'll say it again, say it again, say it again, say it again. After this, one, again, say it again, say it again. Keep it going
waste my life away for a temporary goddamn high. till it goes away. People think Space is the biggest goddamn meme on the planet. Spinning is the most degenerate act man has ever come up with.
Acid.
What's going on out there? What's going on out there?
What's going on? What's going on?
What's going on?
Trying to get some sleep. Keep it going in. I'm trying to get some sleep.
What's going on? What's going on?
That may well be my
What's going
favorite
on?
sample in the game.
What's going on? What's going on?
That was Sneakman from Jet Set Radio, composed by Hideki Naganuma, and then remixed by the Mothership Loudspeakers, which I think I played on the show before. They did something else. Maybe it was something else Jet Set Radio related, but it was that's a really, really good remix. Just they took all of the samples, all of the fun, and just sort of amped it up a little bit more.
It's a bop.
Yeah,
This is a legitimate bop.
super good.
I got freaking Jet Set Radio. We were talking earlier about music that defined a sound,
Yeah,
like a personal sound. Jet Set Radio did so much of that. Hideki Naganuma, Guitar Vader. Eventually, on the future, they had freaking Chibo Mato.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the first Jet Set Radio is one of the first soundtracks that I had in my car all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I had like the CD player like stuck together, like I don't know, like the aux cable into the tape port in my car.
And then Biss, like,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna go too much in that because this is about Hideki. But like
no, he's a weirdo on Twitter. We can talk about someone else.
Not like I bought an Xbox original model and Jet Set Radio feature because of Biss.
Mm-hmm.
Not even because of the game, though the game is really good. I bought it because I was obsessed with Statement of Intent by Biss.
That's a good song.
And then I ended up grabbing all of their music. This was back when, Napster existed, but also Biss was an international band, so I couldn't just like go to Sam Goody and grab a Biss album. God, Sam Goody. I couldn't just go to a Sam Goody and pick up a
Sam
Biss
Goody.
album. So I was just like, well, I'm just going to Napster it up. And I was just finding weird variations of like tracks they put out. Like sometimes it was like studio cuts, and I was just like obsessed with their music. And that was where I kind of got obsessed with. Actually, this is well timed actually too, because this was around the same time of Pop and 8. So like the whole like young pop punk, like Euro pop punk style that was coming out. I became obsessed with all that, and I got into the band Sleeper, and Jesus crap, just I still have discs at home that I burned back in 2002 or whatever.
I have to find it. I have a disc that it says it's a mixtape, a mixed CD that you made for me. It's called the P-Mix Volume 2.
Yes! See,
I gotta find it. It's your handwriting. It's in cursive.
I
gotta find it. I'll post it on our Facebook. It's really cool.
Like, these are the songs that Purdell put on.
There's some good stuff. I'm not sure if you red booked it or if it's just the MP3s on there. I think it's just red booked to play in the car. So I don't know if there's any track names. You have to tell me what they are.
I can definitely do that. But, like, it's just... This sent me down a rabbit hole. The Jet Set Radio OSTs, along with, like you said, pop music, sent me down a rabbit hole. Because, again, Cibo Mato. Now, I will admit, it did help that my walls were already broken down a bit because I watched anime and liked openings and closings, and this was at the point where I wasn't ashamed of letting people know, yeah, listen to music that I can't understand. It's cool.
Right. So the floodgates were open to different styles, right? Yeah.
And you think back on it too, like I've had this chat with people in the past when it comes to music. When I was in high school and all that, I didn't have a style of music. I listened to what my friends listened to and what my dad listened to or my brother listened to. And when I finally went out and bought my first CDs, I'm not even making this up. I pretty much bought albums that I believed I was supposed to want.
Ooh, yeah.
So it was like I didn't really have a style. It didn't come till later. But when it did, it was great.
I think it takes some time for people to not develop their own taste, but to discover their taste.
Mm-hmm.
And I've read somewhere it's like really common. It's like 14, 15 is like when it starts to happen.
When you develop your own personal musical taste?
Yeah. And I think that's kind of makes sense. That's when I got really into grunge rock, like the 94, 95, like right around there.
The funny thing with grunge rock was that I used to hate it, but now I like it. So to put in perspective, in middle school,
I guess it was earlier than 94, 95.
It probably was like it had to be like the 90. I'm gonna say 91, 92.
Around that. Around that's when I really got into that. But it was like high school, like early high school, 95, 96, 97. I got more into like the electronic edge of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because like when what was it in middle school? Our lunch cafeteria had a jukebox in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know why. It was like the only school I've ever heard of that had a jukebox in the cafeteria.
That's so odd. What was on it?
So I don't know what else was on there because all they kept playing was "Smells Like Teen Spirit" by Nirvana, and I hated that song because I heard it at least 2 times a day, and I wanted to beat my eardrums out. It was a horrible sounding song, and it makes me sad saying that now because I like the song, but middle school ruined it at the time. But now I love Nirvana and the music they put out, including that song. And it's funny to think about the fact that technically I was predisposed to liking that, but given the circumstances, I grew to hate it temporarily.
Right.
So, but yeah, I'm all about me some grunge.
Yeah, I was at Home Depot last night because we were looking at paint for upstairs because we still haven't decided on the color for the room. And but the Home Depot, the one that's on Miller Road, the music they play in that store is different from any other store that I've ever like Lowe's or Home Depot because they just play like these like R&B and like old school hip hop hits that you don't hear anywhere else.
Yeah, people break dancing down the aisle.
So good. Like half the ones I don't even recognize. And all of a sudden like TLC came on and I was like, oh, this is great.
Like there it is.
They made it feel good to be in that store. I don't know. I mean, like, I'm sure you can go into like a hardware store and hear like Ozzy Osbourne and be like, yeah, this is great. But no, I want to go into a hardware store and hear like Public Enemy. And like, I'd be like, all right, this is good.
That sounds good. Admittedly, though, if I went into a hardware store and heard hammering in my head, it would at least feel thematic. So I'd be okay with that.
As long as the music is thematic.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to think of another song that's related to like saws or construction.
Reconstruct My Heart. I don't know. That's probably a song that exists.
I guess like the Village People, there's a construction worker.
It's fun to stay at the YMCA that I built.
Driving home from work, I heard Men Without Hats, doing the safety dance.
Oh, jeez.
But I mean, I'm imagining men with hard hats.
That's honestly, don't front. It might be a band.
It's a much safer dance.
They're the ones that should be doing the safety dance.
Also, that song is really good.
For the safety dance?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those songs where if you took the fact that people made jokes about it out of the picture, it was a good song. I mean, YMCA was a good song, but society turned it into a joke. But it's a good song.
Yeah, just on the radio, listening to it really carefully, I'm like, sounds really good. It sounds really, really good.
You can have a good meal. Do whatever you feel.
All right. I'm going to do what I feel, Pernell, which is play your bonus round track. What's your bonus round track?
This was kind of a cheat, but I'll get around to that when we come back around. This comes from the game Kid Chameleon.
Ooh.
This is a cover of the Woods area theme, and it's done by Fictions.
Depeche Mode kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
I was really surprised by this one to the point where, well, I put it on the show. This is the Woods area cover done for the game Kid Chameleon, originally released on the Sega Genesis, covered by Fictions. So there's a weird roundabout here because this started out with me saying what I want to have in the good place is Shining Force 2, because as far as tactical RPGs go, I can play that game over and over again. Like that's like one of the only I can think of where I've replayed it more than one time, and enjoyed it just as much. But I've already pretty much played every good track or every noteworthy track that I love from that game on this show. So I didn't want to do that. So the next thing I decided to do was, okay, I can play this on the Sonic Ultimate Genesis Collection, which for its time and even now is probably one of the best game compilations in existence. And it also made me realize that, oddly enough, Nintendo's never done a game compilation that came close to comparing with what they did with that.
Oh, wow.
For the Nintendo, like for the Super Nintendo era, because that would have been the comparable one. So I was like, okay, well, Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection has X games on it. What are some other really beloved games on this collection that I would say I would totally play over and over again? And Kid Chameleon is definitely one such game. It has a fair bit of replayability because of how the world structure breaks down, because it's not a linear set of level progression. There's like weird warp zones and
There's different
stuff.
exits from each level to get to, like, it reminds me of the original Gauntlet, where there's different exits. Like one exit goes to the next level, but you'll find an exit that goes to level 40, and then that 40 goes to 30, and then 30 can go to 90.
That's a good reference, because that's exactly how it is. Like some warp exits actually send you backwards, depending on what it is. Like this game has always been really good for me. And honestly, I was saying to Rob earlier, this was the first game that I ever recorded myself playing with the intent being to show other people, look at that thing I did, which is also, for the record, why I've always liked the idea of like trophies and achievements, not the whole look at the big number that showed up. It was literally the idea of being like, I did this thing, and I don't have to have you sit down and watch a VHS replay of me playing the game to show it. This is the actual thing saying it. But I did that for this game. It took like 2.5 or 3 hours of VHS recording, so clearly it was an EP mode. But I recorded it, and I had it on track until my brother taped over it with a basketball game.
That was my next question. Is it still around? Is it still around? That'd be so amazing.
Portions of it probably still are if you open up the VHS tape. But no, my brother recorded over a good chunk of it with a basketball game. And then the next game I recorded was, of course, as you mentioned, I mentioned earlier in episode references, the Shining Wisdom Contest. So I was recording that over and over again. So, but yeah, Kid Chameleon is a fantastic game. Definitely a challenge, but not impossible. And there's a lot of meat to that potato. Yeah, worth playing through, even in the present day.
Yeah, that's something I should go. I think you played it at my house like years ago. I think it was like on the Genesis collections on the 360.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, I've never played this. I had a Genesis, and I love the Genesis. Just never played Kid Chameleon.
It was one of the ones where, like, I'm trying to remember how we ended up getting, because this is one of the physical carts we actually owned. And I know it involved a lot of begging. I know that much. But my mom did end up getting it. And I loved this game. Loved it so much. If you want to know more about the artist that appeared in this bonus round, or more levels that exist in the game Kid Chameleon,
go to rhythmandpixels.com, where we have links to their Bandcamps and SoundClouds, and where you can buy the music and support the artists. For joining us on episode 31-10, the end of season 31. Never thought we'd make it this far of Rhythm and Pixels. This is our Good Place games, starring Alien Syndrome at the very end of the show. Why Alien Syndrome?
So originally, like, it was always going to be Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection because of the anecdote I told earlier. But before I settled on Kid Chameleon because I needed a good bonus round pick, this was going to be just a normal track in the episode. Being like Alien Syndrome is a game that I have fond memories of. I like playing it. It exists in Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection, also alongside Shining Force 2. I can do it. Also, it's just a good excuse to get Alien Syndrome on the show, because I don't think I've ever played a track.
Yeah, I don't think you ever played. Yeah, this is one of my favorite arcade games. I've really, really loved playing this. I used to play this at a bowling alley, Silverside Lanes. You ever been there?
I remember that. I don't
Yeah.
think it's there anymore, though, is it?
Oh no.
It's like, oh, no.
I can only think of 2 bowling alleys, and 3 bowling alleys, and they're pretty far away. So,
It's a shame. Bowling as a sport still very much thrives, but not so much locally.
I think it was torn down for where the Circuit City used to be, which is no longer there. I don't know what's there right now.
Ashley Furniture.
Furniture store, really?
Yeah, because apparently people can't stop sitting on things.
It's so obvious. Oh man, this is a really good episode. So next week, I think we're going to either hit the topic for the Patreon show or something different. What do you think?
Well, we still have the special episode topic available. So it's either that one or our version of the Patreon episode.
Yeah. Either way. If you're listening to this episode, March 31st at 7:30 p.m. is going to be our live streamed Patreon exclusive episode. So you can join us
For Friendship Foundations
For
or
fun.
Friendship Fishers.
That's right. Friendships that have been built and destroyed in video games. Please send us your track suggestions.
And anecdotes. They're very important. I want to hear the stories.
I think we'll get some stories. And you can let us know about all of that. Or if you have another track suggestion or even another topic suggestion, the best way to do that is over email.
rhythmandpixels@hotmail.com.
And then if you want a full track listing from this episode and from all of our episodes and access to all of our episodes, go to the website.
rhythmandpixels.com.
We're on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. We're just in all of those places. We also have a 24/7 8-bit and 16-bit music station, radio station on YouTube. It's at youtube.com/rhythmandpixels. It's back online. It was off for a while as I was moving things around, but it's back online and better than ever.
Now with beats and booms and blips.
I updated all of the NES music to sound a little cleaner and louder, and then I added a bunch of more NES music to it. It's got so much more music on it now, and it's got some voiceover, a new commercial voiceover from one of your friends.
Oh, nice.
So that's on there now too. It's for his store called
Super Game Station.
Super Game Station. So thank you very much for that.
And for the record, it is a legitimately good store, quality store, and it's run by a guy who knows his stuff, not like some corporatist person who's just like, people like games, I can make money on them.
Well, I think if you find a game store that's not a GameStop, it's owned by someone who is obsessed with it, who's in the culture. He loves the stuff, right?
That is true.
Yeah. And if you like the show and you like what you're hearing and you want to support the show, you could tell people about it. You could subscribe to the show on whatever platform you're listening to, or you can leave a review, or you can support the show by going to patreon.com/rhythmandpixels. And as a member, you get access to exclusive content, such as the live streamed episodes every month. You get access to cool stuff like stickers and mugs. I think mugs are on there. And some exclusive t-shirts are available in the Rhythm and Pixels Patreon. So it's patreon.com/rhythmandpixels. You can also go to rhythmandpixels.com/merch, where we have some cool t-shirts and hoodies that you can get. Pernell just picked up a Falcom Sound Team hoodie.
Finally, and it's red, so it's running that Adol the red look.
Oh, is that why you got the red?
That's right.
It's really, really good. I wear that at the gym all the time. So you catch me on the treadmill repping Falcom.
See, that's the thing. I don't know if I want to wear it at the gym, though, because I'm going to sweat all over it.
That's why I bought it, honestly. So I can
And
sweat all
it
over
cleans
it.
out, like, no issues.
Okay. If you've bought a t-shirt or a hoodie and you're going to wash it, turn it inside out.
There it is.
And you can throw it in the dryer. I recommend putting on low heat.
Tumble dry low.
Yeah, tumble dry low. It's just the logos. I mean, maybe it's just the test pressings that we get, but the logos don't always last.
My lobster racing is done.
My lobster racing is done. I don't know what it is with that logo or that image. It's just destroyed. But my Run VGM shirt's fine.
Likewise.
My SNK shirt, I sleep in every night. It's fine. All that stuff is okay. For some reason, it's that one. I don't know why. But yeah, that little PSA there. Turn your clothes inside out and wash them that way. Because that's the
Not
part
just for our stuff. Just do it for normal Colo t-shirts, too.
That's the part that's touching your skin. So go ahead and clean that part of your clothes. And at the end of every episode, we like to thank all of our Patreon members who are at the highest levels of our Patreon. And we have a new member. We want to thank Jeff.
A.K.A. Tri-Jeff.
The Tri-Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. The Tri-Jeff. Very much for supporting our show. We really appreciate that. We always like seeing new Patreon members. So, first and foremost, we want to thank Frankly Zappa, the number one. Still has not given me a name. Kristen, GameFan44. Mike Myers, Ulf Person, Fashion 8060. We have Alex the Messenger, from host of AVGM Journey, Andreas Milberg, Brian Pitt, Cameron Worma, Carlos, Kung Fu Carlito from the Heroes 3 podcast. They just released an episode on Bruce Lee.
Ooh,
It's pretty cool.
check that out.
Chris Tienerson, Chris Weisner, a.k.a. Musashi219, a.k.a.
The wise
The Wise Guy. Christopher Senstrom, Davey Cakes, David Taylor, Harold Howard, Jeff Mazziota, Jeff, Justin Schneider from XVGM Radio, which, we got to report something for them on Sunday, right?
Yeah, we got to figure that out because I know my pop's birthday is that day. But I ain't going to lie. I got to think, I don't want to do nothing. I'm a grumpy old man. But
It's at 8 p.m. It should be quick.
it's
Anyway.
at 8 p.m. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's in the nights. Night things. So Justin Schneider from XVGM Radio, also of Arcane something with Ed Wilson. They do like a industrial music show together. Arcane.
I gotta look at that just because it'd be kind of interesting to be like, how could you do this with shoegaze?
Yeah, I'm
Or with
people.
Britpop?
I'm curious what their format's like. So I want to check that out. Michael Bridgewater from the Dr. Michael Bridgewater from the Forever Sound Version podcast. Michael Jennings, Rage Cage from the VG Emporium podcast. Reinhard Selkova, Romancing Sagat. I love that name. Romancing Sagat. Sleepy S'more.
One tiger knee you don't want to touch.
Steve Miller, Taco, and Ed Wilson of the VG Embassy podcast. Thank you so much, all of you, for your continued support of our little show.
We greatly appreciate it. Stand by the thought. If there's something you're like, hey, this is something you guys could do, let us know.
Yeah, let
because
us
you
know.
really do appreciate. You do support us. We love you for it. And it's not like we're just doing this because we think it's fun and we like hanging out with you guys every week and in the Discord. But sometimes it's just like, is there anything they want from us?
Oh, there is a Discord. If you're interested in getting, if you've listened this far and you want to chat with us, it's on our website, rhythmandpixels.com. It's at the top menu bar. It just says Discord. Click that. That'll get you in, and then you'll be greeted with lots of memes. We'll say hi. Everyone's very cool in there.
I'll admit I've been a little lax because right now the game of choice has been Elden Ring. I've been addicted to Elden Ring.
I think that the Shimigami Tensei channel needs to get changed to Elden Ring.
It might need to. I mean, I'm still playing Megaten 5. I'm going back to it, but Elden Ring has been the sweet potatoes as of late. Love that game.
Well, everyone, thank you so much for listening to the show. We'll see you next week. My name is Rob Nichols.
And I'm Pernell.
Have a good day.
And remember, so this is an interesting topic for the show, so I guess it kind of leads into the actual and remember being that if you are the type to believe in the afterlife and the good place and such, what I will say is, like, do your part to make sure you find your way there. But in the meantime, you're still here. Don't wait till the good place to get access to good games and good times with your good friends. Live up the time you got on Earth now, because you want to enjoy your time here and make the most of it, because you don't know what's going on. We believe, but we don't know. So in the meantime, enjoy what you got while you got it here as well. Hang out with us. And if you don't believe in the good place or anything like that, definitely enjoy your time here, because you only get one potentially. So make it count. Play the good games. Also being aware that, of course, there's no time for everything. There's more good games than a human can possibly engage in this day and age. All the more reason to have other people play the games and tell you about them, so you can vicariously get the experience you don't have time to have. Just have fun with your time. Put it to good use.